what that really means is people just showed up to hang out. He didn't really offer a thought-provoking discussion between various individuals. It's different. I don't want to claim that we're the same kind of thing. We're not. But that means that when his community grows up, and you know what I think it might be? 16-year-olds became 17-year-olds. 17-year-olds became 18-year-olds. 18-year-olds got jobs and are no longer sitting.
There are a multitude of possibilities of why this right here could in fact be the case. But of course, there are people speculating that what it is that people are shifting to the right. This right here also includes said individual's audience, or it could be the fact that people just quite frankly figured out the grift. Either way, though, it is very interesting to talk about, and it's obviously very interesting to dive into because it could be one of many things that could be causing said champagne socialist viewership to be going down. But then giving the fact that he is very, very much on the Free Palestine grift, has been for a while, we have to look at exactly why it is that he's putting up such, how do I say this, such tweets up and such things are being leaked from his discourse about how it is that his streams are bangers, but nobody's showing up. But yet at the same time, you've also got a lot of people out there saying, look, to get 13,000 views on a live stream is a pretty big deal. But then again, though, this right here is also the same person who...
Yes, a real job can be gruesome. A real job can make you very tired. But a real job doesn't suck the soul out of you. You know what I mean? In the same way that 9 hours of streaming absolutely will.
Says that streaming is soul sucking and that streaming is much, much harder than working a physical job, even though this image right here is pretty much what a Hasan Piker stream is outside of him eating. But don't worry, we'll be talking about this because people are starting to wonder why is it that Hasan Piker's viewership has in fact dropped off. Now, guys, I am typically not into the whole drama thing. I never have been, never will be. I don't do my videos in a way to be drama-like, meaning I don't add any additional music or anything to my videos. However, I am somebody who does try to point out the grift, and I do talk about the left a lot. I even talk about my own side of the aisle, especially when they're being disingenuous. It just so happens to be that most of the material is therefore on the left. But still, though, at the same time, we have to ask that question. What is actually going on with said man's audience? Are they moving to the right? Is it possible that maybe they have figured out the grift and they're still very much on the left? Or is it possible that people are just, how do I say this, just good old-fashioned growing up, getting older, realizing that things that were said on the stream by a guy who's a multi-millionaire, but yet he claims to be a socialist, or really a communist, it started that people just may be figuring out that life is not exactly what this guy says it is, and people are starting to realize that what this guy preaches is, in fact, how do I say, extremely unrealistic.
Who is some sort of social justice warrior from America, a streamer who's in Australia at the moment. Like, we don't have enough lefties losing it already here. He attended a pro-Palestinian protest, but while there, some of his fans were not happy with him because he was drinking Coke Zero. He wasn't being sufficiently anti-Israel. Have a look.
I'm sorry, I forgot to say, you need to stop drinking Coke Zero on stream.
Why?
It's boycott.
Wait, is it?
You're preaching pro-Palestine and you're drinking all this boycott stuff. Please, Hasan, at least pretend. Do it off stream. Please.
Okay, I'll put it in a glass. Is Pepsi okay?
No.
Is it... Okay.
No soda, son.
I didn't know it was like that.
I'm trying to stop it, isn't that?
Yes, Hasan, at least pretend. Drink it off stream. And no, Pepsi is not okay. Now to...
It seems to me that obviously the girl came up to him to warn him about the things that he'd been preaching, that he obviously needed to practice what he preached. She just didn't call him out for it. But then again, though, at the same time, though, I could obviously point to a bunch of examples. Like, for example, the whole Ethan Klein situation, how it was that right there obviously ruined him. That right there meaning that this same guy, Hasan Piker, who says a lot of very crazy things like America deserved 9/11 or, oh, what else? Oh, babies are colonizers. People often think back to the Ethan Klein situation as far as the downfall of said streamer. And of course, you've got people like Willie Mack who made several videos, several very good videos detailing Hasan Piker. Of course, there are other people who have made other videos about Hasan Piker, and at some point in time, the idiocy would eventually begin to catch up to him, and people would begin to see that what this guy says is not exactly realistic. For example, Actual Justice Warrior, he did a few videos on this topic, and of course, Hasan was actually already getting destroyed on Ethan Klein's stream. Now, you're probably asking yourself a question. Well, wait a minute. Ethan Klein is on the left. Yes, Ethan Klein is on the left. But Ethan Klein is on the left more in the classical liberal sense, meaning that he's just a good old-fashioned liberal. But he's not a communist. And I got my issues with Ethan, too. Ethan, by the way, had a bit of a redemption arc growing, but of course he went on Fresh and Fit, and of course he completely destroyed that in his previous debate. What it was is it involved Vosh, and of course this whole thing about wanting to screw a woman as a horse, and what the hell was leaked on the guy's computer. That right there, by the way, will be coming up a little bit later on this video if you want to hear more about that. So make sure you guys stick around. It's going to be a relatively lengthy video. The point is this right here. They were debating the merits of capitalism and socialism and stuff. And of course, Hasan basically showed you in that little debate that he, quite frankly, didn't know anything. But I'll link the video in the description box. I didn't want this video to be too long. But still, though, a lot of people are beginning to figure out that it is, in fact, a grift. Whether it be fake crying, whether it be calling babies colonizers, people are starting to realize exactly how deranged the individual is. Or maybe it's just the fact that he does not exactly believe in the things that he is saying. Maybe that right there is the reason why it is that his viewership is down so much. But of course, we're going to have more and more of a conversation on this. The other night, it was discussed on Timcast IRL. Tim Pool had Brick Suit Guy, also had Phil Labonte on. And of course, they discussed the possibility of this guy, and of course, the fact that things were leaked out of his discourse that weren't exactly, how do I say, savory. Meaning that obviously some people are concerned for this guy's well-being, but as you guys are going to see with this Sky News report, it doesn't look to me like anybody should be concerned about individuals' well-being.
Is being passed around. Hasan Piker, for those that aren't familiar, he was the most prominent leftist streamer on Twitch. He is, how does he describe? Is he a socialist? Is that how he describes himself?
I mean, he's a himbo socialist, yeah.
Himbo socialist, is that what he says?
Well, no, he doesn't say that. That's me mocking him.
Oh, okay.
But he's allegedly a socialist. He says that he is culturally not American. He rejects essentially everything that there is about America. So,
well, according to this tweet, his viewership is down 40% in 1 month, from averaging 49,000 viewers to 27,438. And I think the issue here is that, wow, undefined from 30,000 to 9,000. That's more than 40%. I think what's happening is younger people are realizing that this leftist grift is just that. It's a grift. Here's a guy who, and so to get to the gist of it.
But was it the Ethan Klein situation that actually got this ball rolling on people seeing that he was nothing more than a good old-fashioned champagne socialist? It actually goes back much, much further than you think. Now, guys, this segment is roughly 1 minute and 27 seconds, but I think what happens midway kind of explains a lot, and I mean a lot, about what's actually going on with Hasan. Let's roll this.
Off. At the same time, we're seeing numerous polls that Gen Z is shifting right. Gen Z no longer supports same-sex marriage at the same levels as millennials. It's now lower than that of boomers. And I think 65% said they thought Trump would do more to fix this country if elected. These are shocking poll results we're seeing. At the same time, one of the most prominent streamers to a young leftist audience is dropping in viewership. It all starts to correlate. I think young people, as I mentioned just a few minutes ago in the previous segment, are waking up to, yes, you're being screwed over by powerful uniparty and corporate elites. No, communism and socialism are not the answer. But I can give you an example of why Hasan perfectly exemplifies the grift that is the left. When I made a video agreeing with him about something, he had criticized Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast was curing cataract blindness.
I remember that.
And Hasan said, why are we praising this? It's a simple procedure, and yet we're relying on an entertainment TV show to help people with their vision. And I said, I completely agree. It's an absurdity that as a culture, we've turned healthcare into a TV show to make it function. He ends up responding by insulting me because I was critical of funding the war in Ukraine. So here's a guy who simultaneously says the military-industrial complex is bad. We shouldn't fund wars. And we should be funding Ukraine and supporting Ukraine. We can't leave them hanging because it appears.
Yes. The Mr. Beast segment. Basically, what happened was that Mr. Beast had this campaign where he was taking care of people who had glaucoma. It was like 1,000 separate people, and he basically covered the medical bills and ensured that these people's glaucoma got fixed. That's basically what it was. It was essentially a guy with money putting up the money to cure blind people. And Hasan Piker obviously got upset about this, so of course he went out to Twitter and he threw a bunch of tweets out there. Tim Pool, of course, reshared said tweets, and then Hasan Piker, for whatever reason, decided to get angry with him. People began to notice right then and there that Hasan Piker wasn't exactly what he preached. He was starting to notice that he was actually a grifter. Even though someone like myself could have told you that a guy who lives inside of a $3 million mansion in Southern California, whom, by the way, also got by because his uncle gave him a job, his uncle Cenk, this guy here, who also at the exact same time was born in Turkey. We found out later on that he was a trust fund baby, rode horses and crap as a child, came here to the United States. Parents paid for him to go to Rutgers. He worked in the sales field. Of course, he also had a separate venture in the world of YouTube long before his leftist grift. Of course, I'm showing you guys some video of it now. He was one of those alpha male bros who tried to give out dating and sex advice. I think he tried to be funny. Now, guys, I'm not picking on Hasan Piker's first venture on YouTube being a failure. I'm not doing that at all. God knows everybody's going to have more ventures on YouTube, myself included. And of course, I'll talk about that towards the end of the video because we got to ask that question, what happens once the grift ends? Like I said, it's going to be a relatively lengthy video. It's not exactly a video essay, but it's video essay light. And I told you guys before that I would be going in this direction somewhere near in the future. The fact of the matter is that after a while, people will eventually figure out the grift. People will eventually figure out that you're full of crap. People will bring up old tweets. People will realize what you were saying there versus what they're saying today. That right there is the actual point. And of course, going back to the whole Free Palestine thing, and of course, going back to Hasan Piker complaining about the fact that nobody is showing up to watch his content, which I'm about to show you now. This right here comes from a channel called Too Lazy to Try. I'll link his channel in the description box for you guys to go try out. I don't know how long he's been on the internet, but I've been watching a few of his videos recently. Seems like a pretty smart guy, but check it out.
Keeps getting worse for Hasan because now he's been losing viewers recently, which he's been having a meltdown over because he thinks he deserves more viewers, and he blames his decline in viewership on his opinion on Palestine.
I've been hemorrhaging both viewership and followers since October 7th, nonstop. There are plenty of people who are just straight up like, I'm so progressive, I'm the most progressive person, except for Palestine. When it comes to Palestine, I think you're crazy. The fact that you are like saying things such as Palestinians deserve emancipation is...
Yeah, so that could be part of it. Or maybe people are just finally sick of listening to him because he says a lot of stupid shit and he's really annoying. And he's just a spoiled brat.
And of course, those things that are said in this discourse, that right there, quite frankly, is pretty daggone concerning. But I don't believe anything that he says in this discourse. You see, a lot of people have once again pointed out the fact that this guy here...
Yes, a real job can be gruesome. A real job can make you very tired. But a real job doesn't suck the soul out of you. You know what I mean? In the same way that 9 hours of streaming absolutely will.
It says that streaming is soul-sucking and harder than a good old-fashioned manual labor job. By the way, guys, this job is not that hard outside of research or outside getting in front of a camera. After a while, you do eventually get used to doing it. I mean, I've told you guys before, I don't plan on going anywhere, mostly due to health reasons, which I'm not dying or anything like that, but just know that when things pop up after a while, you got to make some choices. And when you're at a point in time where you're actually, let's just say where you can actually begin to do things that you want to do, eventually you will find a way to actually do it. A lot of people don't do it. A lot of people just stay home and do nothing. So obviously, as a streamer, you got to give the man credit for obviously getting in front of the camera. However, is his job harder than the average Joe? I did do a video on this, and of course, I did take a Thanos-sized crap on him because the take was quite frankly horrible. People lost respect for him over that one, obviously because he's not very bright and he doesn't know how to keep his mouth closed and obviously says very, very stupid things. People lost respect for him when he was streaming with Ethan Klein long before the whole colonizing situation, the whole situation between Israel and the Palestinians. By the way, Ethan Klein he's Jewish, but he was kind of on the whole Free Palestine side of the entire situation. But Hasan Piker's got to play it to the extreme. He's got to talk about colonizing. He's got to talk about babies are colonizers and how it is that every one of them deserve to die and stuff like that there. And after a while, people do eventually begin to lose respect for you. But people were already losing respect for him because he would have these little debates with Ethan, and Ethan would actually destroy him. And I'm no fan of Ethan Klein. I've seen Ethan Klein get destroyed during debates on several occasions. I've also seen Ethan Klein try to pull a fast one on Steven Crowder and bring Sam Cedar in whom, by the way, nobody actually likes. But still, at the same time, though, Hasan Piker's been losing respect for a very long time. But of course, there's also another incident which caused a lot of people to lose respect for Hasan Piker. Remember this?
You got anyone you want to call out in the heavyweight division?
Oh, you know it, lad. You know that, Hasan Piker? I'm coming to kill you in Los Angeles at your house.
Or in the ring?
No, in real life. I'm going to stalk him and become obsessed with him and wear his makeup and his dresses and use his skin as a coat.
Sam Hyde. Now, Sam Hyde. Here's the thing about the whole Sam Hyde situation. Sam could say that he was being serious or whatnot, which, by the way, it would have been fun to see Sam Hyde go at it with Hasan Piker. It would have been absolutely hilarious. But the thing is this right here, Hasan would then go on and answer people who had questions about this. And I'm showing you guys some stuff here in the B-roll footage of him basically getting mad with people who had, and I'll even play some of it for you guys in a second, people who asked him about it, he got upset about it. He even banned somebody from his channel over it. I mean, when you treat your subscribers like crap. Now, really quick, those of you who are subscribed to me who comment on this channel, I'm pretty sure most of you guys, if I say something that you don't like or something you disagree with, you'll leave it in the comment section, or you may even hit the thumbs down button. It's your right to do so. I love every one of y'all, by the way. Just letting you know. But I still go out of my way to treat you with as much respect as I can. You obviously subscribe to my channel. You're obviously the most important part of this channel because you've helped this channel grow. You help all my other ventures go. But Hasan Piker up and just banning one of his mods. Now, I can understand why somebody could, of course, you know, just be a bit of a irritating SOB. I can understand that. But you don't actually ban them. You just kind of just leave them be. Matter of fact, the more they comment, the more it helps out your algorithm. So I have no idea why he would do that. But then again, though, if you guys remember correctly from one of those Willie Mack videos, he told you he didn't like watching videos critical of him because he didn't like being criticized. Got to do with this as well. You see somebody talking about self-harm over having 13,000 live viewers, which, of course, most people would absolutely kill to get, should tell you right there that obviously something is not right with this person. Obviously, this person is pretty daggone weak. He's shown you this right on several occasions, getting upset with fans, banning them, of course, from commenting, basically telling them to unsubscribe from the channel, things like that. Of course, if you check his Twitter feed, you probably see that obviously that this guy's not exactly what we call somebody who's ever actually had to go through a tough time. Just remember, to him, streaming is soul-sucking. I think what's happening is that it's actually an amalgamation of things that's going on. But the question is this right here. Are these people turning to the right, or are they just simply saying this guy is nothing more than a no-good grifter, and have they become more radicalized as a result? We'll get to that in a second. Let's watch some more of this because I think this entire exchange is extremely interesting, especially once Phil Labonte decides to get involved. And something else too. And like I said, I'll say this again. The question is, what happens to the grift once the grift ends?
Viral. Many different accounts are sharing this post that alleged to be from Hasan in his Discord server. Camelcast official says Hasan Piker is melting down because only 13,000 people watched him on a recent stream. According to this image, which purports to be from his Discord, he said, "I'm so sad. I think the streams are bangers, but people just don't see them. We used to be a community. I hate what my community is becoming. I swear Twitch streaming isn't about the actual content. It's about whether people want to pay attention to you or not and clout. All that ish was a banger and 13K watched like I'm effing gaming at 8 p.m. I'm done. I hate this job. I'm not streaming today. I'm going to..." He then threatened self-harm. So I certainly hope that's not true and he's not actually threatening self-harm. I hope he's okay. But man, there's a couple things to address here. I think the important thing politically is the shift away from the leftist grift. But I also want to highlight the social media depression that happens to people when their viewership declines and they have no mental fortitude. So I'll just say this to Hasan, who may end up saying this. In November of 2020, we were getting over 100,000 concurrent viewers every night from like September to October. We were getting over 120 million views per month for that period. Into the next year, it went down.
What it is that this guy's audience has figured out that he's full of crap. Or it's very possible that they just said, screw it, we're not going to tune in for a night. Either way, what was leaked in his Discord, that sounds more to me like spectacle to get more people to come in and watch him. But then again, at the same time, when you do stuff like that, people will just cut it off right then and there, because they'll realize that you're once again goading them into a situation that's actually fake. You'll hear me say it time and time again over the course of this video. The grift is in fact ending. That right there is what appears to be happening. But the aftermath of it is what really and truly concerns me. However, I haven't exactly gotten to where I think this entire thing is going to go once the aftermath actually hits. But we'll probably cover that in a later video. The point is this right here. Babies are colonizers. Free Palestine, pro-Hamas. What else? Getting destroyed in debates versus the common lib. Not answering back or running away from Sam Hyde, who could have been joking for all we know. I didn't mention it before, but the Piers Morgan interview where he actually was in a mainstream audience, that didn't go well for him. The point of the matter is this right here. People have figured out that Hasan Piker is in fact full of crap. People have figured out that the guy is in fact fake. And in some cases, some people have figured out what I've always said. He's just freaking clown shoes. Look, I am obviously Hasan Piker's political opposite, okay? I don't want to see anything happen to him, even though I think he's obviously phony. Well, actually, I know he is. But still at the same time, though, the guy's clown shoes. Once you realize that he's full of crap and that he's just comedy, that's what you'll see, is that he's just good old-fashioned comedy. He's not to be taken seriously. He is simply somebody to be laughed at. It's funny, too, because I showed you guys video of his first grift, the whole alpha male thing. If he just stuck to that, he probably would be better than what he is in politics. He probably would actually have a much, much more loving audience. Because it's pretty obvious that this crap here...
Hey, didn't see you there. I'm Hasan Piker, and this is Bro Tip. This week's Bro Tip is about bringing out the alpha male in you.
Is not to be taken seriously. I mean, like I said, the guy's freaking clown shoes. He's not designed to be thought of as a serious person. It's just pure comedy. And I think some people, it's possible, some people have figured that out as well. But let's get back to the meat of this video.
You know, he's like really lopped onto like pro-terrorist stuff. Like he's literally pro-terrorist. Like he
called babies colonizers.
Yes. There were stickers that were being put up in Times Square that were probably mocking the Palestinians and mocking Hasan, but they were saying that, you know, babies are the settlers too and stuff, and it's like that's really gross stuff. And like I said, it was probably mocking them, but Hasan said it, and Hasan, being the absolute imbecile that he is, because he is as dumb as a shoe, but he literally was like, you know, Ethan, babies are settlers too, and he wasn't being ironic about it. It was absolute idiocy falling out of his face. So, and I really think that people are just like, oh, this guy's an idiot. He's pro-communist and he's pro-terrorist, all just because America bad. That's the only reason. It's because America bad, and he's a moron. He's the guy that said, you know, the U.S. deserved 9/11.
Yeah.
Now, whatever you feel about the U.S.
Number one, Hasan Piker is in fact an imbecile. You guys heard that there. You will not hear any disagreement out of me for that. There are even people on the left who think he's an imbecile. Destiny, for example, who, by the way, will be coming up in a video here in the near future as well, because obviously we got to talk about him. But of course, I did mention the fact that you've had the Sam Hyde incident. You've had not only the Sam Hyde incident, America deserved 9/11, the whole Ethan Klein situation, how it was he was getting destroyed and dominated in those debates. And also, to go on top of being destroyed and dominated in those debates, you also had the whole babies or colonizer situation, where a lot of people began to see that this guy is actually very, very much a scumbag. And of course, there's also the whole thing about not doing charity. Yeah, I know he raised a bunch of money for Free Palestine, but of course there was controversy to go along with that. I'll leave some videos in the description box to explain that. The point is this right here. I think what's going on is that people are beginning to realize two things. Number one, Hasan Piker is a grifter, champagne socialist, and not really and truly a true believer in that cause. I'll tell you right now, he's the biggest capitalist I've ever seen in my life. And number two, there are also a lot of people out there who've actually grown up and actually seen that this guy is, in fact, telling them things that, quite frankly, is not exactly real. People actually grow up, they start to live in the real world, and they start to see that things are not the way this person says that they are. It's not only that there, but people also at the exact same time are also saying to themselves, wow, this guy right here thinks that babies, what the hell would this guy not say to get some form of attention for the algorithm? I think that what it is that people have figured out that he is exactly what Dr. Disrespect said, a fat phony.
Typical leftist, in my opinion. So that's my bit on Hasan.
Happy to enjoy the results of the capital that he accumulates while railing against it. The entire system, though,
of course.
I'm sure.
And I think that's part of the reason, too, is like people, like his viewers really, I would imagine some of them really believe the socialist kind of thing. And
not anymore.
It's clear that he's a grift. It's clear he's got, a boatload of money and he's not giving a bunch of it away. Like, he raises money, but he's not giving his money
Really
away.
quick. That right there was roughly 32 seconds. And of course, you saw the guy in the brick suit with the MAGA hat on. He's not lying. You're over here railing against the system. You're over here talking trash about the system. But then again, though, you're also using the system to make... I've actually experienced that with a lot of people on the left, or a lot of people who claim to be on the left. It makes me wonder if the discontent is for America or if it's for the American people. Sometimes I can't figure out what it is. I think it's a little bit of both. But going back to something that Tim talked about earlier, about how it was that he's very much against he's very much against the military-industrial complex, but we got to protect Ukraine. Basically, what it is that whatever the hell the mainstream media says, I got to go along with. That right there is basically what it is. And of course, he'll basically go through and watch every form of media. But then again, though, as you guys may have found out, and of course, I could have done this a long time ago, but I think the Willie Mack videos were the recent examples that did the best job of exposing this fat phony of all the lies and all the hypocrisy. We're just talking about the afterbirth, the aftermath of everything. Okay, that's all we're really talking about, and wondering what happens next. Like, where does this thing go? But of course, there was something else that was said that we'll get to more so towards the end, because I've talked about it a few times already. But it isn't just Hasan Piker, it's also Vosh. It's also Destiny to a certain degree. And let me go ahead and say this really quick, because when I do my video on Destiny, asking the question about his L's and whatnot, which I'll probably link another video, probably the one from iHypocrite, because he was did a very good one on it, talking about him, because Destiny's been making the rounds. He's been on Jordan Peterson, he's had Candace Owens over, he's been doing debates with just about everybody. Did a debate with Ben Shapiro, got exposed completely for not knowing history. Of course, there's also a lot of other takes that have been out there, too, to show that as well. I mean, this is the same guy who believes that Erdogan is the president of Israel, when the president of Israel is actually Isaac Herzog and Benjamin Netanyahu is the prime minister. The point is this right here. These people are getting exposed more and more and more. All you got to do is just take a look at a map to see where certain countries are or whatnot. These people are getting exposed even for that there. These people are getting exposed for a bunch of dumbasses, and of course, people in their audience are beginning to turn on them. However, are they turning to the right? Well, we'll get to that here in a second. The point is this right here. People are starting to see that this guy, like many other leftist streamers, are in fact a bunch of phonies. Makes you think about the Amazing Atheist. That guy there who apparently stuck up can't really say it here, but still at the same time, though, that guy there has got this massive, and I mean, he's got this massive amount of subscribers, damn near 1 million. But yet his claim to fame is going on Joe Rogan back in like 2014, 2015. The viewership's just not there. He got into it with a guy named Nuclear Grifter here recently. He's the guy who got the receipts on that one. But still, it makes you wonder, like I said before, what happens once the grift is over. Now, guys, I'm going to let this next part run, okay? It's about 2 minutes and 15 seconds total. But I advise you guys listen to it very, very closely and very carefully. Because at the end of the day, the question is, what happens when the grift is over with? What happens when the glitz and the glamour are gone? I'll be talking about that, of course, on the other side. And I'll also be talking about the question, are people in Hasan's audience starting to turn right? And, of course, I'm also going to be telling you guys exactly what I'm going to be doing. Because, obviously, you're probably wondering, when the hell is Claymore's grift going to end? I hate to tell you guys, this my grift is really and truly not that strong. If my grift was stronger, I would probably have about 100 times the amount of growth that I already have. Still, though,
insane for us. We did not have the membership thing we do today with timcast.com, and revenue was way crazier. With 120 million views, you can only imagine. And then as things started to go down, it's just whether I have 100 million or 20 million, I was like, I don't know. We hang out every night. We talk about what we care about. I think the issue for Hasan is his whole thing was community, as he describes it. What that really means is people just shut up to hang out. He didn't really offer a thought-provoking discussion between various individuals. It's different. I don't want to claim that we're the same kind of thing. We're not. But that means that when his community grows up, and you know what I think it might be? 16-year-olds became 17-year-olds. 17-year-olds became 18-year-olds. 18-year-olds got jobs. And
there's one other thing that I think is worth pointing out. If you look at the left-leaning Twitch political streamers, the people that are the biggest names, you've got Hasan, who's a literal, he supports Hamas. You've got Vosh, who seems to have untowards photos in his porn box, and then you've got Destiny, who's kind of having a rough time lately as well.
He's been getting beat up on the debate circuit too.
Yeah,
he wants it, man. He's out there. He's just like, bring it to me.
And he's just getting pummeled.
I think there's something about like his personality where he just doesn't feel embarrassment. And he's just like, I'm going in there. It's like someone that can just constantly get punched in the face and take it. I think that Destiny just is beyond embarrassment, and that's what his thing is. But you look at the leftist streamers, and none of them do anything other than stream. So like Hasan, if he loses his Twitch stream revenue, that's it. If he stops streaming in 6 months, his revenue's down to almost nothing. And
as a communist, he has no idea how to use capital.
It's true. This is true. And the same thing with Vosh, and the same thing, honestly, with Destiny. It's like these guys don't do anything else. You look at like Jeremy from The Quartering. He's got his coffee, and he's got the Publica that he's doing. Coffee brand coffee, and he's got the Publica that he does. And Tim here obviously has the coffee that cast brew coffee, and it's
just Tim Pool on everything. I'd probably agree with him maybe like half the time, maybe half the issues, okay? Because Tim's still very, very much a guy who's for the most part moderate left. He's a Bernie brother. But you got to give the man credit. He is at least coming up with something besides his own platform. Let me give you an example of what I mean. There's a platform now called Tenant Media that has Christensen, Lauren Southern, Lauren Chen, Dave Rubin, Tim Pool was there. They recently had this entire beef over Stephen Crowder and Jared Monroe, the totally not gay Jared guy, that guy there who's apparently suing Crowder, or Crowder is just in a cease and desist. And there's a great big giant thing going on online. I was thinking about doing a video about that, but seeing how it is that I've defended Stephen in the past, I don't want to get involved in a marriage situation. And of course, I've been looking at the situation too. And of course, it looks more to me like what Tim's point was to Lauren Southern the other day was actually correct. But still at the same time, though, I don't want to get too far into that one. But still what I'm saying is this right here. They created a media group, but if Tim was to leave, he'd still be okay because he was fine before that. All right. He's got the cast brew coffee stuff. He's got his own compound. Of course, if he needs to, he can go back on the street like he did during Occupy Wall Street. Jeremy the Quartering, I want to say, was mentioned in that full segment. Jeremy the Quartering has got his channel, and of course, people accuse him of being a grifter like crazy too, and I can understand why. Jeremy, for the most part, is okay. I did a couple of videos, including some things he's done. And I actually listen to it from time to time as well. But Jeremy's got his own thing too. Take a look at Second Amendment channels like, say, Guns and Gadgets. And, of course, these guys will advertise something like, say, Blackout Coffee or Bearded Vet Coffee. I understand sponsorship, but still at the same time, they've got something going on. Even the Daily Wire sells chocolate and stuff. And even though we got issues with the Daily Wire, you got to admit that they've got another ground game they can go to or another source of income. It's kind of like, say, with me, for example. I have this channel here. I have Gear Issue 33, which is being relaunched this month, with the first video being on the film Zulu. That right there is for military movie reviews. I've already got a stream of income coming in that's not related to YouTube that's going to be there for the rest of my life, so why not go ahead and do what it is I want to do, especially given my recent situation. It's kind of hard for me to move around. I've got pain going on in my leg, and of course we finally figured out what that was really truly going on. Not the best thing in the world. It's obviously life-altering, but I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be here probably for the next 10 to 20 years. I can do sports if I want to. I'm basically a generalist. I can basically do film, sports. I can break down things and do much, much more advanced stuff, which, of course, we'll be doing in the future. I can create more and more channels. Of course, I just got to learn how to not get in trouble with what I say. Now, like I said, I didn't want to talk too much about myself, but the point is this right here. Tim can do a different grift. He can do a different thing. Okay, he can sell coffee or whatnot, products. Heavy Duty Country is another guy. He sells his own type merch and stuff. The Officer Brand Tatum sells merch. I'm not going to be doing that, but obviously I've got other passions that I can do here on this platform, on Rumble, and also at the exact same time, not just do on Rumble, but on BitChute too. People like Hasan, people like Destiny, people like Vosh, they don't seem to understand that their grift is pretty much up. They don't really have much of a talent outside of what it is that they do. So it makes you wonder what's going to actually happen to these people when the grift is over with. Now, you would think that Hasan Piker, being a multi-millionaire, would be just fine. Vosh, of course, has got a family that's got money. He's even said that he's come from a family of money. But what do these people do when the money runs out? I mean, these people are ardent communists. These people, they claim to be. They have no actual money managing skills. They get the money, they spend the money. What are they going to do? Now, Hasan, I think, could probably go right back to TYT, but of course, TYT is beginning to pivot more and more and more towards the center. Fact of the matter is that the grift is almost up, which makes you wonder what's the next grift going to be and how valuable will that grift be. This guy right here is upset about the fact that his subscriber count or his viewership count is down to 13,000 versus his normal 130 to 200,000 on Twitch. He's upset because he's down to 13,000 views. There are a lot of people out there who are like look, man, I would be happy to get 300 viewers on a live stream, okay? I would be happy just to get 100, okay? And this guy is freaking out because he's only at 13,000, which is the size of Cameron Indoor Stadium in Durham, North Carolina. It's actually bigger than that because that stadium only holds 10,000. It's an absolute joke. Stuff like that there that's making Hasan Piker suddenly unlikable. That right there is the problem. But if you ask me if these people are going to the right, well, a lot of polling data has suggested that young people are, in fact, going to the right. They are starting to shift that way. But I think it's only in a smaller sample size. I think what happened was that the pandemic made a lot of Gen Z realize that the country was better off under the previous regime. They weren't dealing with the price of gas, the price of food being through the roof. Especially, like I said before, when you get up, when you grow older, you do eventually start to live more life. You begin to see things aren't what the leftist streamers say they are. Especially given the fact that the vast majority of them are multi-millionaires, and of course their grift is about to end. One of the worst things that could happen to the left is these people going actual mainstream, meaning the online left. It would be one of the worst things in the world. I mentioned the amazing atheist earlier. He was actually on CNN one time. He hasn't been back since. Basically what happens is that mainstream media sees that these people are a bunch of loons. They don't want them to come back because they realize that they're not even popular with their own audience. None of the things these people say, they're all they said. By the way, CNN is a more left-leaning audience. They didn't like him, so they didn't bring him back. Makes you wonder what happens when somebody like, say, Destiny goes on Fox News one night and gets absolutely destroyed by Jesse Waters. What do you think is going to happen to him? The point is this right here. The grift is coming to an end. Of course, it will experience a bit of a heightened rebirth, but it won't last very long, and it'll get destroyed very, very quickly. It makes you wonder what these people are going to do when people, quite frankly, have no more use for them. Make sure you guys tell me what you think. Please say something in the comments. This right is going to be the only video of the day that I have planned for Tuesday. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe. Please share the video. Please sign off in the comment section. I would love to hear what you guys have got to say. Please critique the video, and I'll see you guys later.